Assalamu alaikum, dear students. Welcome you back, to journalistic writing and the topic under discussion, qualities of good writing. If you remember, in our last class, we were talking about the first important quality of good writing, and I mentioned, that was clarity. And I gave you 4 principles of clarity. The first one was use short, familiar, and conversational words. And number 2, construct effective sentences and paragraphs. Number 3 was achieve appropriate readability. And the last principle was use examples, illustrations, and visual aids whenever, desired or when desired. And I ended my last lecture with, readability, discussing it. Now, let me give you same example which we, were doing in the last minutes of our previous lecture. Let's, start from the same point and see how these, readability, measures, we calculate, we apply. Let's go back to the screen again and starting from the same example. There you are. Paragraph is in front of you on your screen. And if you see at the end, I have written for you total number of words, 107. So the total number of words, in this paragraph are 107. Sentences you can see, these are 4. And hard words. Let's take a look at the first sentence, and there you can see, like, inorganic is a hard word. Hard word, I told you before, a word consisting of 3 or more than 3, syllables. So, inorganic, entities, artifacts, established, integral. Then in the second sentence, integration, encompassing, influencing, so these are all hard words. If I give you the stat of these hard word, then, hard words in this paragraph, which you have seen, are 11. And the Fog Index guide, after applying the formula, is 14.81. The Smog Index, if you apply the formula, you will get 84.99. And Flash Index, 31.8. Dear students, I told you in the last lecture that for Fog Index guide, scale is from 6 to 16. Okay? And ideal readability is between 8 and 12. Scale is from 6 to 16. Ideal is between 8 and 12. And I mentioned that if your, results are more than 12, for example, as far as Fog Index guide is concerned, then, your writing is towards, complex. I mean, it's difficult. And if with the Smog and Flash indexes, it's 0 to 100, and towards 100 means, it's what you say, simplicity, increases. Now, the same paragraph, which we applied readability indexes, I have rewritten the same one. What does it mean, rewritten the same one? Means this paragraph, if you see on your slide, its fog is 14.81. If it's 14.81, it means this is difficult paragraph. Hard words are perhaps more, and as I mentioned, more than 12, so it's of course difficult. I've simplified the same paragraph, and then we'll reapply, these indexes and see, what results, will be there. Now, once again, take a look of the rewritten paragraph, and then we apply. Now, if you take a look on your screen, then the sentences are, again, I believe, 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Sentences are, again, 4. Total number of words will be 85, if you count yourself, and hard words are 5. Now, if you apply the Fog Index guide, total number of words divided by total number of sentences, then total number of hard words divided by total number of words. Add these two, multiply by 0.4, and our results will be, Fog Index Guide of this paragraph is 10.85. 10.85 means ideal. So that can be the ratio. Ratio of what? Word and sentence ratio for the education level of your reader. On your screen, you can see SMOG is 75.75 and Flash Index is 54.85. So you can see the figures. The figures are, more towards the balance, or you can say towards the average understanding of your, readers. So this is what the application of, readability indexes is. Understand these. Try to apply these. I mean, you can, from newspaper, for example, select some paragraph. Make sure the length of the paragraph is, 100 or more than 100 words. Apply these formulas and predict that, the readability will be what. I'm again telling you, it really needs, a little more practice. Then, of course, things will be clear. The last principle towards clarity was use examples, and illustrations and other visual aids. This is also very important. If, you have produced a long piece of writing, there, possibility is that, your reader will be lost in details. Especially it happens, when we go into feature writing or go into, article writing. There we realize at times that, perhaps details are so many, of so varied nature that possibility is that, your reader will be, lost somewhere. There you need some, treatments. For example, you can use some examples. You can use some analogies to enhance understanding. You can use some images over there if possible. And of course, in newspapers, in articles, and in features, they do use, images to make things easy. You can try some, you can make things bold. You can underline things. You can itemize things also. You can introduce bullets in your writing, or some sentences or some, paragraphs. You can put them in, in uppercase. This is how you can add variety to its layout also, and you can, differentiate information from, important to something very important, or to, just neutral. So this is how you can enhance clarity. These things are important. Why? Because they create, pictures in reader's mind, and there, you enhance the clarity. Now, dear students, let's move towards our next principle or next quality of good writing, and that is conciseness. Conciseness means sharp writing, to the point writing. And they say what you want to say and say no more. No, let's see what are the principles of conciseness. Principle number 1, eliminate wordy expressions. Number 2, include only relevant statements. Number 3, avoid unnecessary repetition. It means no wordy expression in your writing. Only relevant statements in your writing, no irrelevant things. And no repetition. So through these 3 principles, you can make your writing very sharp and very slim and very much to the point. If your writing is clear and if your writing is concise, wow, what else you need? You're writing with clarity and you're writing to the point. Wow. That, I believe, is more than enough. Now, let's take a look. What are wordy expressions? As you know, wordy expression means such word or words which are in split form, in other words. Such words which are not in one word form, rather they are in split form. They consist of more than one words to convey one single meanings. Like idiomatic expressions are always in split form. The body is not one word based, actually, more than one word. And they're conveying the same single little meaning. Let's take a look of some wordy expressions and see how we can replace them by some easy to understand words. Take a look on your screen. You can see I have written wordy and concise items. And these are some of the wordy expressions which we very commonly use. And why, when you have so simple, so crisp words available, and of course, it will introduce, the compactness also in your writing. Take a look along the line of, you can change it with about, at this time, at the place of at this time. Why don't you use now? Consensus of opinion is consensus. Due to the fact that, because, during the time that, while. So this is one word actually, one word substitution, in other words. Few and far between, seldom. For the purpose of, just use to or for the reason that, since, from the point of view of, as, have need for, just say need, in due course, enough to say soon, in many cases, often. In order to, just use to. In some cases, well, why don't you use sometimes? In spite of the fact that, try a simpler one, although, just take a look. In spite of the fact that two, and 6 words, just one. Under the circumstances, use because. So this is how we can treat wordy expressions. Now, let's, see one more example, to where, we'd see how to, make our, sentences rather more concise. Take a look. Now, you can see on your screen, there are, sentences, and I have written the better versions in bold type. Like the first one. She bought chairs that are of executive type. Its better version, its concise version can be, she bought executive type desks or chairs. She bought chairs that are of executive type. She bought executive type chairs. Next one. There are 4 rules that should be observed. 4 rules should be observed. That's it. The full details of the news can be found on page 2. Why don't you simplify it to the full details of the views is on page 2. So this is how, we can change our wordy expressions. We can eliminate wordy expressions in our writing. Now, our second principle, which is relevance. It's something very, very important. Nobody likes irrelevance in writing. Nobody likes digression in writing. Discussing north in details going towards south. Nobody likes it. Nobody likes it, We got to be very much to the point. Focusing the subject very, very tightly, which we could also call as tight writing. No irrelevant details. all our sportive details have to be very closely, as I mentioned in our previous lecture, very closely related with the main topic and main idea. Now, there are certain, things to do for relevance, which I really want to show you with the help of a slide, and I would rather request you that, you really act upon. Take it as an advice and act the way it has been advised. Let's take a look and see, what are things to do for relevance. As I mentioned before, stick to the purpose of the message. Prune irrelevant words and rambling sentences. Cut out irrelevant words and rambling sentences. Omit information obvious to the reader, or don't repeat unnecessarily. There's no point, in mentioning that information which readers, are already aware of. What's the point of that? Next, avoid long introductions, unnecessary explanations, excessive adjectives and prepositions, pompous words, gushy politeness. And the last one is get to the important point tactfully and concisely. And there I have, written one example for you. Take a look of this one. The writer hereby wishes to extend his gratitude and appreciation towards all those who offered unselfish assistance in his work. This sentence is, quite wordy. The same sentence can be rewritten this way. I appreciate everybody's unconditional help in my work. Such a wordy, such a long sentence, full of, pompous words, changed into quite a slimmer, presentation by just focusing the keywords and then putting those keywords into a sentence and, making as one. This is how, conciseness introduced, in your writing. Now, one more example for you. One of the primary aims of the extremely new master's degree program, which will offer an innovative curriculum not now available to the area's population, will be to draw them back into postgraduate education to improve their communication skills. Now, I have written there, you can see, total words are 40. Now, the same paragraph, which is, of course, composed of, I guess, one sentence only, 40 words. Now, this can be, changed into rather more concise sentence this way. A primary aim of the new master's degree program, which will offer a curriculum currently available to area resident, is to improve communication skills. I repeat, a primary aim of the new master's degree program, which will offer a curriculum currently available to area residents, is to improve communication skills. 24 words only. Now, our third principle, avoid unnecessary repetitions. Let's take a look what principles are there to follow. Number 1, use short name after the long one. If you have used, a full name, let's say in the first sentence, and again somewhere in the second or third or fourth sentence, you need to repeat the word. So why to, use the full name again? You can use initials, or you can use the surname again. Or if you are first name basis, you can try out the first name only. So this is how you can, cut the number of, words. Second principle, use pronouns and initials after long names. Now, again here, if you are using name of somebody, male or female, in somewhere again in some sentence you want to, again use the same person, his name, you can always use pronouns. You can use he or she or they, as appropriate. And the third one is cut out needless repetition. Now, I'm going to give you, once again, some examples. Take a look of them and see, how we can make our sentences concise. First sentence. Be sure to emphasize the important essentials. Be sure to emphasize the important essentials. Now, this sentence is redundant. Why redundant? Because important and essentials, same thing. Essentials are always saying you that something important, okay? So why to add adjective, a value word to which does not, of course, need. So we can rewrite the sentence this way. Be sure to emphasize the essentials. Next sentence, we need to reach a group consensus. Now, please take a look. We need to reach a group consensus. And of course, consensus is always group. So why to use adjective which serves no purpose? So delete group and the sentence will be, there, of course, concise and obviously correct as well. We need to reach a consensus. So this is how, you saw that clarity, of course, conciseness also. Conciseness demanded 3 things from you. Number 1, it was, don't use wordy expressions. No wordy expression. Number 2, no irrelevant details. Stick to what is closely related. Don't deviate. Don't digress. It's a sin. Error. Don't do that. You lose your readers. And of course, you will make your reader's job difficult if you go irrelevant. They'll keep on, making head and tail out of it. Will be difficult, of course. Don't do that. And number 3, don't repeat unnecessarily. Have a balance in your writing. So clarity and conciseness. With this now we move towards concreteness. Concreteness means to be more specific. From general to specific. Like the way they say, narrow down, For example, a topic is effect of media on society. Now, I ask you, do you think this sentence give you any concrete understanding what I mean by effect of media on society? Apparently, you can say, oh yeah, it is very much clear that, effect of media on society. Fine, yes, I agree with you. But ask yourself, isn't it very general? Needs narrowing down. When we say media, well, don't you think media can be interpreted as electronic or print? Society, what society we are talking about, rural or urban? You can further go down. Are we talking about the male members of that society or the female members of that society? Or are we talking about the children, who are minors of that society? The educated members of that society or uneducated members of society? School-going or, house-staying members of the society. So all these questions are, there, which, let you move from general to specific. And of course, let me tell you one more thing. If you are specific, your job is easy. Your reader's job is easy. Your job that you can, very easily plan your topic, collect information on, find out the focus of your, activity, and the same, facility you can pass on to your readers. Of course, they would know that he's not talking about media. He's only going to talk about electronic media. Even in electronic, you can talk about the time frames that he's going to talk about, the prime time electronic media. And not foreign media, he's going to talk only about the Pakistani, let's say, out of media, not radio, only TV. So, see how we can move down and down to very specific point. And of course, we can then dig out information for, our readers. So, concreteness, I believe, is one of the most important characteristics of, good writing. Now, be clear, be concise, and be concrete. 3 wonderful, I would say, characteristics. Wonderful things to do. Now, let's see what principles are there for the concreteness. What, steps we can take, we can, follow to reach or to shape our writing concrete. Take a look. Here again, use specific facts and figures. I repeat for you, use specific facts and figures. Extremely relevant facts and figures. To the point, with a primary focus, not a secondary. Number 2, put action in your verbs. Don't make your verbs passive. Make your verbs active. Speaking, dominating. Out of different, picture words, like adjectives, like adverbs, like verbs and nouns. Out of these picture words, adjectives, adverbs, nouns and verbs, verbs should dominate. Ask me why. Because verbs advance action in your writing. And the value words slow down action. Because the value words, especially this adjective thing, it's a value word for the nouns. And nouns, of course, are actors. They are not actions. Verbs are actions, and they actually take your readers from your opening to, closing. So this is how, we call have lots of verbs plus, of course, when I say have lots of verbs, it does not mean you become a victim of verbage. One action, one verb, that philosophy, has to follow. Okay, let's now come back to our third point on your screen. Choose vivid image building words. These are 3, principles of concreteness. Let's, go through some examples and see how we achieve concreteness in our writing. Let's take a look, first of all. Use specific facts and figures. These brakes stop a car within a short distance. Now you can see this sentence apparently is giving you, of course, just a statement, but the details are, of course, missing. Okay, fine, it's a fact that so-and-so brakes can stop a car within a short distance, but a short distance is not that concrete one. We can write that very distance, within which the car can be stopped. And it's a better version is in front of you. These brakes stop a 2-ton car. Look how we made the word car more specific by adding facts to it. these brakes stop a 2-ton car, not just a car, 2-ton car, traveling 60 miles an hour. Speed also mentioned, within 240 feet. This is how we made our, sentence full of facts and figures and more specific and more concrete. Second example, please. This computer reproduces campaign letters fast. The word fast does not tell us how fast. Let's take a look of its beta version. This computer types 400 personalized 15-word campaign letters in 1 hour. Now you see, number of letters and the speed, the fast factor, is given. And this is how we made the sentence more concrete. My dear students, words like more, less, quick, soon, tall, slow, these are such words which do not tell us that if I say, let's say slow, for example, it doesn't tell us how slow. Quick, how quick. Many, how many. So these words actually can be, changed with a little more concrete, facts and figures. You can always add facts and figures, to these words, and you can make your sentences more concrete. So this actually I mean when I say use specific facts and figures. Why we're using it? Of course, they then create some pictures in your reader's mind, and they understand, what exactly, we mean by using those more or less or, words like these. Let's take a look at the second principle. Put action in your verbs. Please keep in mind, strong flavored active verbs give writing bounds and hold a reader's attention. The avalanche was caused by an explosion. Now, this is a passive sentence. Yes, here I would like to tell you a difference between passive and active. Passive sentence is the one which does not talk that much about, the verb. And, of course, it's actor. Of course, every sentence has actor and action. The right sentence is the one, active sentence is the one in which actor is performing the action. In passive voice, actor is lost. And, stress is shifted onto other elements of the sentence. So that's why they say there's usually no force, no vigor, no life in passive sentences. The moment you change passive sentences into active, they become more vigorous. The element of vitality you introduce in them. Please take a look of the second example. These figures are checked by the research department. Second version is, of course, in front of you. These figures are checked by the research department. Of course, it's again passive. Changing the verbs into active, you can see the research department checks these figures. The next example, a full report will be sent to the newspaper by the reporter. It's better version. The reporter will send the full report to the newspaper. Active sentences. Another example, his raw speed compensated for his lack of form. His stride was brute strength. He was aggressive in his races. Now, this example is rather more enlightening. You can see it's a second version. His raw speed obliterated the many flaws in his form. See the word obliterate, the strong flavored word, very rightly expresses the idea. His raw speed obliterated the many flaws in his form. His stride was brute strength. He attacked a race and left only scorch marks behind. You can see this sentence is more vigorous, more forceful, and expresses exactly what is desired. One more example. The function of this office is the collection of payments and the compilation of statements. Now, if you see the better version, this office collects payments and compiles statements. Not nouns, verbs we are using. Now, if you use, or start your sentences this way, that the child ran a mile, or a mile was run by the child, active and passive. So awkward, the later one, a mile was run by the child. Rather, the child ran a mile. Figures show, or it is shown by the figures. Figures show. This is active and more forceful. This is how we can, add action to our, verbs. Now, the third and the last principle of concreteness, have such words which could create, images and pictures in your, reader's mind. Please take a look once again of some examples. There are a great many solder joints in the spacecraft, and each must have just the right amount of solder. Take a look of its second version. The spacecraft has 2.5 million solder joints. Now take a look of it. In the actual version, it was many, and many we translated into 2.5 million solder joints. Now this 2.5 million solder points is an image item. If an extra drop of solder had been left on these joints, the excess weight would have been equivalent to the payload of the vehicle. So this is how we, try to make our sentence more vivid and image building. One more example. The metropolitan state will play a box and chaser defense against City College. Box and chaser is a technical term which we use actually in basketball, sport. Not everybody would know what is box and chaser defense. If you are using such, technical terms, you should be very, very careful that chances are that things which are very much clear to you may not be same way clear to your readers. So that's what actually we say, use familiar words. So this, can be rewritten this way. The metropolitan state will play a box and chaser defense. Now, you would see now this box and chaser thing explained for the meanings. In this defense, 4 men will play a zone. They will cover a specific area of the floor rather than guarding a particular man, while the 5th player will guard or chase City College star no matter where he goes. If you want to use term, then tactfully translate that term, in your sportive details and then convey the meanings. Or don't try, go for the familiar, easy to understand word. Last example. The camera has a system that gives you good pictures. Now see, improved version. Camera. We added its proper, name. Let's say the Nikon camera has a uniquely precise measuring system that assures you properly exposed true color pictures. And this is what actually we call vivid and image building, word choices. So this is how we try, to attain, to achieve concreteness in our writing. Now, my dear students, after clarity, conciseness, concreteness. Now we move towards the importance of coherence in our writing, which is our fourth important quality of good writing. Now, what is coherence? Coherence, of course, means the organization, the sequence and progression, in your writing. Paragraphing also, dividing, your piece into, appropriate number of, suitable number of, paragraphs. And of course, every paragraph is going to have one central, idea. How to achieve coherence in our writing? Well, do three things. Number one, have parallel structures in your writing. Number two, use transitions where appropriate. And number three, paragraphing. Now, what are parallel structure or parallelism? Parallelism means that if you are, let's say, if there are verbs in your sentence, then, give same form of the verb to them. For example, if you're starting your sentence from present, let's say participle, then all the verbs in that sentence should have present participle, form. If you are starting your sentence from infinitive form of the verb, then the remaining verbs in that very sentence should also enjoy the same form. Like if, as I said, ing verb, all verbs in the same sentence with ing, infinitive, to plus verb, then all of the verbs in that sentence, should be with to plus verb, and, on. This is how you can, of course, achieve, parallelism in your writing. And when I say transitions, transitions are actually linking, words. They are also called as guideposting in, at times. They link your ideas with each other. Some examples of transitions, let's say when you, start your argument, first of all, you use the word firstly or first, and then you move down to secondly and thirdly, and moreover, and then furthermore, and then what is more, and then finally, all these words actually are what? They are transitions. They transit from one idea to another. And this is how they link ideas, with each other. And they create again, like the way we studied in concreteness, the picture making. This is also sort of like, picture making thing, They make the reader's job easy, that now you are talking about, this is your argument 1, this is your argument 2, this is your 3, this is your 4. Now you are winding up, or you are starting, or you are giving example. So this is how, like, they create pictures in reader's mind, and then they prepare their readers that what is opening and what is, closing. So this is how transitions are absolutely important. And then, of course, paragraphing also. As I mentioned in clarity, where we studied that construct effective sentences and paragraphs, a paragraph also has its length. A good paragraph is of 3 to 4 sentences, not more than that. So this is how, we can introduce coherence to our, writing. Now, I would like to show you some examples to see that how this parallelism thing, how these transitions, really work, in our writing, and what change, they introduce. Let's take a look of the first example. Onto your screen, you can see a sentence. The first one, it took some time to choose the team, full stop. This is now one clause sentence, independent. The second one is, then we developed a plan and then finally the decision was made. And the third, all of this took 6 months. Now, these are 3 sentences, and what they actually lack is parallelism. If you see the first sentence, here the verb is to choose in infinitive form. If you see the second sentence, over there you see developed in past form. Verb is in past form. And second verb, the verb of the second clause of the same sentence, you see that's in passive form. And third sentence, if you see, that's also in past form. See, verbs are not in parallel form. Now, if you see the better version, choosing the team, present participle. I'm starting my sentence with present participle. Choosing the team, second verb, also in present participle form. Developing a plan, and making, the third also in present participle form. This is what we call as parallelism. The verbs are parallel now. Choosing the team, developing a plan, and making the decision took us 6 months. Or you can take the same idea this way also. Now here I'll be starting my sentence with infinitive form of the verb, to choose. And then you would see all the remaining verbs are, in infinitive form. To choose the team, to develop a plan, and to make the decision took us 6 months. Dear students, this is how, we introduce parallelism, and results are, of course, in front of you. Sort of rhythm, you gain in your sentences. Sort of flow. Sort of music, you gain in your sentences. Sense of ease, you feel in there. Now, let's see the work of, transition. Back to your screen. The book you ordered is out of print. One sentence. We are returning your check. Second sentence. You may wish to contact a book search service for assistance. Now, you see, there are 3 sentences. Of course, they are linked with each other. But frankly speaking, where is that link? We have to introduce that link, Of course, we do understand that someone applied for book, that book wasn't available. Now the company is going to return the money. But we got to, of course, we got to show those links also so that, we could really move from idea to ideas. Now, let's take a look at its better version. The book you ordered is out of print. Therefore. Now, therefore is a transition, which shows what? Which shows the result of the previous sentence. The book you ordered is out of the print. Therefore, we are returning your check. However, now we used however because the third sentence was a contrast actually. However, you may wish to contact a book search service for assistance. So, introducing 2 transitions, number 1, therefore, and number 2, however, we achieved coherence in our sentence. We linked up all the 3 parts, of the idea, and this is how, organized and made the job of the reader, easy to understand the relationships between these 3, items of that very idea. So, my dear students, I would like to end my today's lecture again with the words of, H.W. Fowler, who, said, on your screen, prefer the familiar word to the far-fetched, prefer the concrete word to the abstract, prefer the single word to the circumlocution, prefer the short word to the long, and prefer the Saxon word to the romance. These are golden rules. Learn them, apply them, and make your writing easy for your readers. I hope you enjoyed my today's lecture. Once again, I'll advise you, go through, notes once again. Go through some extra, material also. And understand, clear your concepts. Now, in our next, class, we'll talk about a few more characteristics of good writing. And then, we'll move into the process of, writing. With this, take care of yourself. See you next time. Bye-bye.